This is what some people assume, but then what happens is, bam, this is actually what happens. Now I'm going to walk you through this because for me, I need to see where I'm at and what I'm about ready to step into. And so I can be, uh, how do I say this? More in self control about what's going on with me. Let me just walk through this here just with you for a moment and explain this and open your eyes to a pattern, a cycle you may be going through so you can see what's happening. Okay, first position number one here on the top, I'm going to call it 12 o'clock. This circle right here, this big swirly arrow, I'm going to pretend like this is a clock and this is 12 o'clock at the top. 12 o'clock at the top, you're on top of it. You're fearless, taking action, clarity. You have a fair analysis. No matter what you do the balanced analysis that we've talked about, and I'll review here in just a little bit again. And a team player. This right here, 12 o'clock, boom, straight up, going for it. And look, at this point, you can see where you're going. You can see the star out there in front of you. Okay, just so you can see everything, I'm going to move this arrow out of the way. Okay, but what happens is one of the very first steps we take, or the slip that happens, if, like right here, if you were to keep going right here, you're going to make it. That's the thing, you're going to make it. But what happens is we as people, we tend to slip and we travel this cycle. We're not moving forward, but we are spinning into a personal cycle where we're burning up a lot of time and energy, but we're not really moving forward linearly. We're cyclically, like in a cycle, you could be spinning and doing a lot of work, but you're not really making progress on your progression chart. You could be literally traveling this cycle over and over and over again. But let's talk about what happens. One of the first things that happens that causes a person to fall off being on top and moving forward and start to slip into this cycle is that 60% is okay. Only following 60% of your impressions is okay. All of a sudden the standards drop. You see 100%, 60%. When standards drop, you better believe you fall into a cycle that's going to take you down, because once you start letting things, 60% is okay, and that becomes the standard, you're going to fall off being on top. So this comes from making attempts. It's okay to have small delays. Hesitation is okay. Hesitation's okay. Like, yeah, I can just do it the weekend. I don't need to do it right now. It's okay to do it later. And then a lot of questioning yourself. That's the question mark, and then questioning self. You make attempts, but 60%, it's okay. It's okay. And then you start to slip. Well, if this continues, you're sooner or later going to find yourself down this curve. So that's like the 1, 2 o'clock position. And then the 3 o'clock position, another imagery, if we could make this circle like a gigantic boulder, like a boulder, right? And if you're standing on top, you feel balanced. If you stand on the edge of this big boulder, you're going to feel, like, whoa, I got to be careful. But if you're on the edge of the boulder, you're barely hanging on. So 60% does lead to struggle, making mistakes, putting things off, seeing failures coming, losing motivation. That's going to happen. It's a self-induced struggle. Up here, striving for 100%, that's a different kind of struggle. This is a struggle for 100%. Over here, this is a struggle because you put stuff off. You're behind. This is the behind struggle. This is, oh no, I feel like I'm running out of ability to even move forward. Because see, you're spending all your time barely gripping and holding on because you're about ready to fall. If you make one more mistake, you're going to fall. So up here, this is a struggle, but this is a struggle to be on. to do your action step for the day. It's a struggle to do that webinar, to just finalize that content, send that marketing piece out. That's 100% is like, I'm doing this. That's a struggle. This is also a struggle. But it's like, which one do you want? I'd rather be up here. What do you think? I would rather struggle up here than struggle down here. If you agree with that, because you got to pick your struggle. If you agree with that, click the raise the hand button. If you're like, man, I'd rather be struggling and be able to see and have clarity and move forward like that, right? Because it's like we need to pick our struggle. We're either struggling forward or we're struggling because we're so stinking far behind. It's like, and we do one more thing. We do one more thing that doesn't work. Boom, mentally, emotionally, we fall. We crash. We either implode, explode, or we give up. Bam, we fall. And then now we're down here at the bottom and we shut down. You know what shutdown looks like for you. Everybody has their own shutdown. Can't think, no ideas, paralysis by analysis, perfectionist, thinking I got to do everything perfect to get myself up here. It's a head game. Usually it's very, very, very driven by emotionally being discouraged. And you could be down here for days or weeks or months. So then something happens, boom, you decide to dig in and start to crawl your way back up. And you get going. And the reason why you can get up to this point is you turned into being teachable. It's like, all right, what do I do? How do I do this? And you're teachable. And then as you're teachable and you listen and learn, you find gratitude for everything you know, for every gift and talent you have. You're grateful for the people that are around you. And that gratitude, boom, puts your feet back on the ground. You are almost up to the top. And now because you're teachable and grateful, guess where you end up? Because of teachable and grateful, you're back up on top.